behind the glass walls of his towering office and the power his name commanded, the CEO lived a life defined by silence. Wealth had given him everything the world admired: success, influence, respect, but it had stolen the warmth of a real home. Every evening, he returned not to laughter or comfort, but to empty rooms echoing with memories of a wife he had lost and a life that had fallen apart. His greatest pain wasn't his loneliness, it was watching his young daughter grow up. Without a mother's love, she needed more than nannies and tutors. She needed bedtime stories, gentle hands to wipe her tears, and a woman who could make their house feel like a home again. Desperate and exhausted, the CEO began searching not for love, but for stability, someone kind, patient, and strong enough to care for his child. That's when he noticed her, a nurse standing outside the hospital, in the cold, shivering as she clutched her thin coat. Life had not been kind to her either. Long shifts, unpaid bills, and a future filled with uncertainty had worn her down, but her eyes still carried compassion. She spent her days caring for others while having no one to care for her. When he approached her with his shocking proposal, it wasn't romance, it was honesty. "You need a home," he said quietly, "and I need a mother for my daughter." The offer sounded cold, almost transactional, yet beneath it was raw desperation to broken souls, standing at the edge of survival, facing a choice that could either destroy them or heal them both forever. The cold that night was more than just the winter air, it was the weight of everything she had lost. Standing outside the hospital after another exhausting shift, the nurse pulled her thin coat tighter, trying to shield herself from the wind and from a life that seemed determined to break her. She had once dreamed of stability, of a simple home, and a future she could believe in, but reality had been cruel. Orphaned young, burdened with debt, and trapped in a cycle of endless work, she lived each day just one paycheck away from disaster. Her pride was the only thing she had left. She never asked for help, even when her hands trembled from exhaustion and hunger. Every shift, she cared for patients with gentle patience, hiding her own pain behind a tired smile. The hospital corridors knew her as kind and reliable, but no one knew how close she was to losing everything: her rented room, her dignity, her hope. So, when a well-dressed stranger approached her with an offer that sounded impossible, fear and disbelief rushed through her. A home, security, a chance to escape the cold. But at what cost? Accepting his proposal felt like surrendering the last piece of herself. Pride whispered that she should walk away, that she could survive on her own. Survival, however, whispered louder, reminding her of unpaid bills, empty cupboards, and nights spent shivering alone. She didn't realize it then, but that moment, standing in the cold, torn between dignity and desperation, was the turning point of her life. What she believed was a temporary arrangement, a choice made out of necessity, would soon reshape her future in ways she never imagined, unlocking love, belonging, and a second chance she never thought she deserved. At first, everything was clearly defined. No emotions, no expectations, just an agreement between two people who needed something from each other. She would provide care, warmth, and stability for his daughter. In return, she would have a safe home, financial security, and a chance to breathe again. It was meant to be simple, controlled, and temporary. But life inside the house refused to follow rules. The little girl was the first to change everything. Her quiet footsteps, shy smiles, and hesitant trust slowly melted the nurse's guarded heart. Bedtime stories turned into laughter, scraped knees into long hugs, and lonely dinners into moments filled with warmth. Without realizing it, the nurse stopped pretending. She became a mother not by contract, but by love. The CEO watched from a distance at first. He noticed the way his daughter laughed again, how the house felt alive for the first time in years. The walls that once echoed with grief now carried warmth and belonging. Slowly, his guarded heart began to soften. The woman he had invited into his home as a solution had become its soul. Late-night conversations replaced formal boundaries. Shared worries turned into shared dreams. Old wounds, grief, abandonment, fear began to heal through small, everyday moments of care and understanding. What started as necessity transformed into trust, then affection, and finally something neither of them had planned for: love. They realized the truth together: family isn't created by money, contracts, or blood. It is built through patience, kindness, and choosing each other every day. The deal that once felt cold and desperate had become a bond unbreakable, giving all three of them what they had been missing all along: a real home, a real family, and a future filled with hope.